Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again. So, today we are going to talk about changing opinions and how to reach out to rural Americans about social issues. Got a message saying, hey, for the first time, I actually understand what you mean by, on a long enough timeline, we win. The maximum amount of freedom for the maximum amount of people. That is going to happen on a long enough timeline. The thing that convinced this person was the most recent poll about acceptance of gay marriage in the United States. Attitudes are changing. It is at an all-time high. So then the question becomes, how do I convince the people where I live, rural Americans, that they're wrong about things? Oh, don't do that. You're not going to get anywhere. You can't convince rural Americans they're wrong about anything. That's like our thing. We are right. Don't try to convince them they're wrong. Convince them that their base principles are right, and they just need to be applied across the board. You know, one of the greatest things about living in the country is that you get to exercise the fundamental base principle enshrined in the Bill of Rights. It's the right to be left alone. That's really what all of it boils down to. And out here you get to do that. You know, small farms engage in assisting each other in mutually beneficial ways all the time. Now, they would never talk about it in the ideological sense, but that's what they do. And if Bill goes over to Jim's farm to pick up some extra fencing or whatever, and he happens to look over into a tomato field and he realizes that not all the plants in that tomato field are tomatoes, is he going to call the law? Of course not. Because what's on Jim's side of the fence isn't Bill's problem. And if you don't, I'm sure somebody will explain that in the comments. That fundamental idea that people should be able to do whatever they want as long as they're not harming somebody else. That's a big thing out here. Lean into that. You know, when it comes to the subject of kids and pronouns, next time it comes up, just say the phrase, you will never catch me telling somebody how to raise their kids, and watch their face. Because that's a big thing out here. And if it becomes a conversation, ask them what they think is more traumatic. Words, just names, or parents who take their kid deer hunting a little too early. Because we all know what happens. First time you take a deer, you have to process it, right? We all know parents that took a kid out to do that a little too early and they cried through the whole thing. Which do you think is more damaging? Is one damaging and one's not? But at the end of the day, does anybody correct that parent? No. Because it's not something that rural people do. We do not tell people how to raise their kids. We don't really, we may judge it, but we do it privately. We certainly do not try to involve the law, which is what a lot of this culture war is about. It's about using the force of government to regulate people's private lives. Lean into the fact that every rural American knows that's wrong. Start there. Don't convince them they're wrong about the issues. Say, sure, that's not the way I do it, but they're not hurting anybody. Their attitude will change. If you can get a rural American to apply the base principles that they use every day in their life to everything, they become socially progressive overnight. It's the most effective thing I've ever found. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.